We're live on tape. You want to talk in that mic?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Podcasting.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's loud.
Eric?
Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
I feel loud. Do I sound loud?
I think I'm a little low, actually. I think you're probably good.
Okay.
You're a little loud. That's all right. I'm a little NPR today. A little raspy. More raspier than normal, I'd say.
Yeah, you look raspy.
I feel well rested, and everyone's like, yeah, every day I see you, you look shitty. I was like, I thought today was a good day. I don't know. I don't look in the mirror.
Well, you've got a weird dichotomy of outfits going on right now. You've got a collared button-down shirt.
Come on, we keep it professional here, like Sports
a bathing
Center.
suit.
They don't know what's underneath. The video, the people on TV watching video, they don't know.
Bro, I will grab that camera and wing it over here just to prove my rightness.
No, look, we got to keep a professional atmosphere around here, right?
Do we?
I know.
No, that's the whole reason we do this, I thought.
Anything you're working on right now?
Right this second?
No. Like, we don't have to take it literal. I'm saying, like, any dad projects, any work things, anything on your mind.
I went camping this weekend. Told you that.
Dude, that camper looks awesome. That's a project in itself, right?
Oh, the camper is a huge project. Every time it goes out, I have to learn how to do it again. But I'm officially to the point where, like, we can take a hot shower. The shitter doesn't smell like shit. Yes, that was an issue.
You take shits on there?
Hell yeah. That's the whole point.
Oh, man.
Dude, that's what I was saying. You bring the kids out.
No poos on the RV.
Dude, no, it's fine.
No,
like, this is a nice...
You can't do it with kids.
I'm telling you, you'd like it.
Or parents doing cocaine. You're going to shit all the time.
Well, that's... Yeah. Do it off the yellow toilet seat. No, I think the camper you saw was probably not mine.
Oh.
Yeah, the one that was posted online was like a pop-up.
Yeah.
That's not mine.
Oh.
Mine is a full-on walls, the real deal.
Didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah, well, those pop-up bitches.
Well, I want to hear more about this camper.
Yeah.
Let's get into the show with your favorite part at the intro.
Fuck.
Let's get a hottie toddy going. Hey, Sweat Equity, you ready to bounce? Let's do this. Huh? What? Toddy. God almighty. I tried to time it out with that jam, man.
It's like when you get a good jam, the hottie toddy is way over the top, and then when you get a slow burner, it takes my energy, but the hottie toddy sucks, so that's good. It's
yeah.
like a takeaway.
Yeah, it's a give and take.
Yeah.
I'm glad those improv classes are working out with a lot of yes ending of the show.
That's the only thing I don't yes and. Everything else, I'm in.
It's that 95% pessimism score. It got in your dome, and then it's like when people close to me, I get in an argument, they say you're a contrarian. I say, well, not in this situation, which is a contrarian statement. It's like when, hey, you're being really defensive, and it's like, I'm not being defensive. And you know that kind of like that loop you get in when an argument?
Yeah, you can't say yes.
You can't, right. You can't say anything, really. So I just be quiet most of the time. Anyway.
Is that what you're telling me to do?
That camper.
On the podcast?
It's been a project. I wanted to talk about projects. I want to talk about how to avoid scope creep.
Yes. We are victims of scope creep.
It's a term that I don't know. I barely have heard it. I think it's starting to catch on a little bit more.
That's because you're so far away. You're up in them trees with a scope. Perving on people, like you can't hear what they're saying, but they're calling you a scope creep.
Yeah, or peeping Tom.
Yep.
Either way.
Yep.
If you need to use it as a that kind of noun, that works. It's a multi-tool kind of phrase. But scope creep is when in the gig economy too. You know, we're getting more and more people in this freelancer atmosphere, Everybody's got a side gig. It's kind of why we do this podcast a little bit, to kind of impart any information that we know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tease that. The one thing I wanted to get to before we get into that stuff is I'm thinking this show, the way we format it, might be we should maybe flip it up. We're already thinking about it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more, and holler if you hear me, more of like a love line for businessy kind of, so that kind of format where we can get people to call in, or we
talk
can
about your STDs that you got from your secretary, HR person, whoever gave you the STDs. Is that what you're talking about?
You went in a different way. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Well, office romance, always.
Yeah.
Intrapersonal relationships in the work atmosphere. Because
we're experts now.
No, but I mean, look, we get a lot of startup people asking questions. A lot of kids, a lot of people younger than us, millennials. We're at the upper crust of that age group.
Accent on the crust.
We're the crustiest of that. But I feel like I've been trying to figure out how to get all these questions and be thoughtful to write them down for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably I get 10 a week of just people I randomly talk to, or friends, or prospective clients and stuff that I'm bad about writing it down for this. But I think if we can figure out a format eventually to have a consistent time where we do this, that we can promote taking calls live or FaceTimes or any of that, I think, and we'll have friends probably call in.
Yes.
I
we would hope.
Well, we like friends of the program. We can set it up like Rob Cressy, who I was supposed to get on here last episode.
Oh yeah.
He's my brother from another mother, does what we do up in Chicago, and I'm sure he would call in if he was just farting around Chicago on a lunch break,
Sure. I mean, just, so you want to try and do live, why not just do...
No, we just have a standard time, and we can promote that time, and people can call in, because it's more fun to talk to people and ask follow-up questions than... No, with the fallback is we can just get questions emailed or
yeah, I was going to say
tweeted to us or whatever.
What about like a pre-recorded party line?
We can do both.
You know what I'm talking about? Where you leave like a voicemail.
The producer side of me is going to say, the showrunner side of me says, look, in the beginning, we're not going to have a whole hour of people calling in. So, we can have those backup questions there. We can answer them anyway.
Yeah, I'll just end up getting under the desk and doing all my voices.
Oh, sweet.
Hey guys, wanting to do a startup for a septic tank company. I don't know.
You are the Michael Winslow of business comedy podcasts. So I'm thinking that's where my head's at. It's just kind of spitballing. I wanted to do it on air because I think it's interesting to see the creative process for anybody that listens consistently. So that's an idea. You guys tell me if that's shitty or not. You guys tweet us, whatever, hit us up.
For us, it sounds like it would be a lot of work. It'd be hard to do.
I think it's just like anything. I think it's going to be, it feels like a lot of work, but I bet if we actually, because we're going to improve this podcast no matter what. Either there's an opportunity that's been in the holding period in purgatory for a while, or we just kind of have to step up our game.
Yes.
Continuous improvements, super important, or else we're just going to get flat and we're not going to get better, Yeah. And the whole idea of this podcast is to dispense advice. We got to start taking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got real emotional on you.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ.
Just think about all the work I got to do.
What are you going to do?
Figure out the phone line. How do you get a phone call in on the internet now? Jeez.
Oh, my God.
What a pain in my ass.
I've done it before, BE, before Eric.
We got a landline in here.
We can get an ISD line if we want to do better interviews of maybe other podcasts.
Oh.
That are like have that at their studio.
Yeah. Well, that's really good for streaming for one thing, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
We can do that.
It's like super high speed. Or is that,
like
am I thinking of something different?
No, it's like designated line, but for phone calls and video, it like doesn't have as much like white noise, like chatter.
Yeah, I
to
got
break. What happens with this? Sometimes it'll glitch from the internet because we're using Bluetooth, and then B, it's wired from an Apple AirPort, which is like an extender that goes into the camera, which is good. It helps the strength, but it's not.
Is it Bluetooth? I thought it was Wi-Fi.
Bluetooth on that iPad.
Oh, from the iPad to the camera.
You're directing from there. You are directing, or is it just doing it?
Yeah, I'm directing.
I haven't seen your hand move to touch it.
Doing it with my mind.
You're on your game. All right, I want to hear about the camper. This seems like a huge thing you've been working on, to the point where I'm like, what's going on today?
No, it's really good. The camper it's good now. I got it all. There's a lot of stuff to learn. First of all, manuals for campers are horrible. Now, YouTube how-to videos for campers, there's some gold there. I
think the manuals for anything now are just there for legal purposes.
Right. Yeah. No. YouTube has been solid on this thing. I mean, there's guys out there that just like, I think it's a bunch of like guys who run camper shops that are sick of answering and explaining the same thing over and over again. Kind of like us.
We've done that for clients.
Yeah. And pretty much every little, the good thing is there's not a lot of, they break it down like as little as it can go, like stupid, where it's just like, oh, thank God they did go over that sort of thing. But yeah, man, the camper, now that I have it under control and I know how to get a hot shower and, get the burners working and all that stuff. And we got all the supplies in there that you need for the most part. So it's not like a huge packing deal every time,
What's the make model of it?
It's a Jayco something or other, BH number. I only remember BH for butthole, of course.
Yeah, that's how you're going to do it.
But
I wasn't even questioning that.
It's like, like, obviously.
And then the numbers, I just go by sports.
Yeah. I think it's like a 184 BH.
Like it's 2356. All right, Michael Jordan, Hardy Nickerson. Okay, cool.
There you go. Yeah.
That's my way of remembering stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I daydream about them hanging out. I'm like, what would they talk about? And then that'll help me even because my ADD is still rocking.
What would they talk about? Probably not a lot.
Hardy would just smile a lot with the fake teeth, the veneers.
Didn't he have braces?
Yeah, but then he's got like these. I don't know. He's got the Matt Dillon and something about Mary.
The chiclets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to know about the camper? I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
It's a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
Unless it's one of those old school ones, which I thought it was, but
an Airstream.
Well, Airstreams I think have value like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Like
but
I think they last
forever.
It's
limited to that.
No, I don't know about depreciation on campers. I assume they depreciate. They have to. They have tires.
But I'm saying, like, I don't know if there is, because it's half home, half car. So it's like, is it a thing that can appreciate? Can you put stuff into it? Or is it like a boat and it's just like whatever, you just always fix it?
I think they just kind of decided that everything that can move is going to depreciate.
Yeah.
Anything that moves for some reason.
Well, it's just wear and tear.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But it's like a house appreciates. Some cars can appreciate if they're in that.
Yeah, if they're old enough.
Memorabilia or have something unique to them.
Yeah.
I feel like the camper community, those older ones, right? It's an older one.
No, it's brand new.
I keep thinking it's that.
No,
picture.
It's not. The other one is that one. That one's a little bit older, but I don't know. Campers are weird. It's like you forget that like there's not a complete. There's somewhat of an assembly line, I would assume, but there's a lot of just like nailed together pieces of wood where people are just figuring that shit out that day. Where it's just like, oh man, like this is just. That's how I would build this camper from when you start looking at all the workings.
Dude, I didn't realize I was on a RV for 3 months doing a stand-up tour when I was 25, and we had got one of the comics was from Seattle and had like a sign company, and somehow was able to pull together he was like, I'll take care of the RV. I think I can get one up here. I think I'm going to buy one for the trip instead of us being in a car. And then I'll wrap it. I'll do the wrapping on it. Dude, I think the only thing that kept that RV together is like an 88 something, Winnebago something. I don't remember the brand, but I think the only thing that kept it together was the wrap. Because I felt towards the end of the thing, I was like, what if we tip over in this while we're going? Wait. And then I started feeling the walls. Like, this thing's like styrofoam.
Oh, they're all
What the
jankety.
fuck?
Yeah, dude. They're all weird. Like, I think it's just build it as cheap as you can. I mean, you want to get a good deal. But the expensive ones are like the RV where you drive the whole thing.
Yeah.
But see, I like the camper because you can drop it and then I have a car.
Yeah.
Go around, do say, if you have a camper or an RV, you have to tow a car.
No, the badasses, they put like one of those like mini dirt bike-y kind of things on the back.
Mini Cooper.
You can do that.
It poops out a little tiny car.
Yeah, there's no real good system, I don't think. But
yeah.
I look, I like the camper life. I like the RV life.
Yeah. No, it's important. It's important to go out and be able to, because it's good because you can focus on just this thing. Like, it's enough dad shit I got to do.
Well,
make sure we don't all die.
You slacked over. I didn't have internet. I was like, that's probably good for you. That, like, for real,
Yeah.
that's like good. I think to disconnect like that. You're better about that than I am, but it's still like, I was like proud that like happy for you.
Yeah.
That you were able to like go out there and not be on your phone the whole time and all that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of these campgrounds will advertise that they got Wi-Fi.
Really?
They might as well not.
Well, I mean, I get it, but it's hard. Don't give us that choice. We're here to not do that, but
you're supposed to be bored. That's what I told my kids. They kept complaining, "This is boring." I'm like, "That's what you're supposed to be bored and figure out stuff to do." Like,
you need a dad line for that.
Yes.
You're not bored. You're boring.
Oh yeah. We say that all the time. Yeah. There's no such thing as boredom. There's only boring people.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to be in the future, like with kids, because once the smartphones happen, it's literally like you can have something to do at all times.
Yeah, there really shouldn't be boredom then. I mean, now actually,
but boredom's a good thing. I feel like that got me into like it makes you get into hobbies and it makes you get into stuff that you normally wouldn't have, right?
Well, you're not going to be creative if you're doing something other than that.
Yeah.
Creation comes from boredom, kind of, or a lack of thinking about something else.
I mean, to talk about the RV trip again when we were on tour, it was like we're so fucking bored because we had a Wi-Fi hotspot, but this is 2010, and so you could get it every now and again, but when we started getting into Idaho and Montana and shit, it's like that thing, we can't get any cell reception.
Yeah, you might as well be on Mars.
Well, we had to kind of work whenever we had Wi-Fi because I was shocking. I was doing all the nerd stuff and promoting. I'd be emailing newspapers like, "Hey, we're coming to town. Can we get some press?" Doing all that sweat equity. But I think like being bored on that in the RV, eventually we're like, well, let's try to do something productive while we're here. That's the adult version. When you're bored.
Well, I mean, for comics, that's when you get that's when you get some good stuff.
Yeah, you need to be sitting at the airport where you can't really do anything.
Yeah, you need to be observing,
or stuck at the car rental place, or just be a kind of a dope and just like you just kind of sit there.
Experience.
Yeah, right.
If you're on your phone all the time, you can't really do comedy about what you saw on your phone. I mean, you could, but it's everybody's gonna be doing.
Dude, I totally believe that because I'm doing so much, I haven't been writing nearly as much. Plus, you can also make time to write. That's the other part.
Yeah.
Anyway, scope creep. And I screep. Yeah. We should call it screep.
No.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either. I didn't like it when it came out.
You almost wrote it down, though. I saw you.
Screep. I'll write it down.
And then scratch it out.
Don't say that. Don't. I'll put equals with the slash through it. Old school style. Do not say that.
Jed, you got any screep
So
strategies to avoid.
Yeah, this is good for life. This is good for business. It's basic. I wish someone made me take a knee and made me listen to how to project manage, like how to kind of contextualize it. You know?
Yeah.
I think a big mistake that a lot of people do is you just start getting into something, or you don't start at all. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's back up. But a lot of people, when they start getting into the project, they didn't really take 20 minutes to plan something. It might save you oodles of time. Right?
Oh yeah, big time.
But the way to contextualize it, and I obsess with this now, because all our work is mostly project based. Even if they're on retainer and it's ongoing services we're doing, the bigger stuff within that retainer we're doing, they're project based.
Right.
There's a beginning, middle, and end. So think of every project that way. So just break it into threes. That's huge, right? But let's start with the. I'm going to try to speak to the freelancer kind of people out there.
I don't remember. Do we kind of explain what we meant by scope creep?
It's when you get fucked. When, like, you're a graphic designer. Everybody's got that graphic designer friends that decrees they're overworked and they're underpaid for what they're doing, but they didn't. It's because they didn't set the principles and the terms,
right?
And they didn't stick to it,
right?
That's the big thing, right? So, graphic designers, I think, are my number one person that bitches about this, because they're not good at that. They believe they're told they're artists, so they don't think they can make this other part work.
Yeah.
You know?
Or improve it, or
video. I mean, you're in the video world a lot, and that it happens there
yeah.
all the time.
I mean, web design too. You know,
sure.
It's all anything creative, really, other than stand-up comedy.
No, comedy can have that for sure.
Well,
like, you work let's say you're working on a set, and you can just kind of let that you can either not work on it and go up, or you can just, like, here and there never really attack it. Like, you have to set a goal.
Yeah.
Or benchmark.
Yeah, parameters.
Like, I'm gonna work on 20 new minutes by the end of August. Right? That should be a goal of mine. 20 tight minutes. That means I gotta write probably about 45 decent, and then whittle it down.
A lot of dick jokes.
And how do you sprinkle them in without having too many sprinkled dicks everywhere?
Yeah.
You know? But scope creep happens all the time. It happens in your real life. The camper could be an example of it if you were like, I need to get it to working functionality, and then there's fucking shower issue.
Oh, well, we had scope creep. We agreed to do dinner the first night because we were with a bunch of other people.
So there's your date. That's your goal date.
Right? So we brought a bunch of stuff for dinner that night, and assumed other people would too. And it was just like, oh shit, this is all we got. And it was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's, you guys are creeping on our scope just now. You know? And then it's like, okay, you could get into starting making dinner for everybody else. And it's like, you gotta set parameters, guys.
Any building always has this, right? They get scope creep. Any house that's being built or commercial building, there's always scope creep. Like, it's like, yeah, what day is that going to be on? That's going to be open? Oh, yeah? Okay, we'll see. Because people don't allot time for, like, those incidentals, right?
Right.
Like, this y'all's example of the dinner is like, that's more like social, like, just kind of narcissism.
Yeah.
I think y'all's fault, really. But if there was a behavior of the friends that you're hanging out with and they don't bring much to the potluck dinners, you know.
Yeah.
You could be like, we could have brought more.
I was thinking more like if you start helping people in a certain way without, you know, people start to expect things a certain way, you know, where it's like, oh, well, we'll just do that a little bit extra.
So
just do that a little bit extra.
That's what happens. Yeah. So, like, and Jesus, we do it only because sometimes it depends on your position, right? So maybe you agree to a job, a gig, but you're working your way up and you're kind of getting your foot in the door. You got to go into mindset that we had a client like this recently where we knew we were going to, like, deal with this.
Yes.
And I can't say too much because there's NDA stuff and all that. But I think you were on the project, so you're going to it's one of a few.
It was the first thing that popped up.
Okay, so the thing about that is like, we knew going into it, but we wanted to do this project and really wanted to do it to get this under our belt, right?
Yeah.
It was something different. It was something new. And so, and it would get us to a different cachet, a different level of professionalism.
Yes.
That's more of the goal for us than it was the cash or, labor.
Yeah. Or setting or making sure that we weren't going to get screwed over, sort of like we were just kind of like, okay, we'll just go with it. And, so we can get it under our belt.
It's like, can you do this little change? Can you do this little change? So here, I'll kind of direct this over the camera a little bit, but the biggest thing you can do is, I'd say two things. You plan it out, you set the terms, and you have to, in the beginning when you're not good at this, like I wasn't good about this, and now I'm like OCD about it, and I still need to get better at it, is you set the terms, right? It's in the contract if you're a person that does contracts. Here in creative, you need to set like rounds of design.
Right.
Rounds of editing, whatever you want to call it. There needs to be simple rounds, right?
Yeah.
And that's that phases, 1, 2, 3, beginning, middle, end. It's always easy to just start with, you got 3 revisions. It's on this date. It's on this date and this date. Here are the times that we can go over these. If we're on our game, we'll send it 3 days before. You look at it, you make your notes, then we'll meet. And you have to like be so regimented, because if you don't have that, then if it's your contract is only as good as it is tight, and so if your time, like the dates and labor, all that stuff, and the cost aren't on there, those are easy to put in, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So always add some fat time to that. Hey, if I had nothing else going on, this would take me 3 weeks, but I've got a lot of stuff going on. So figure out that labor calendar, grid it out. If you're really trying to be a full-time freelancer, this is how I do it. Grid out all your work hours into a 30-hour week. Because stuff's going to pop up. There's going to be stuff you don't know. But when they ask for a change, you can only ask for a revision at this round.
Yeah.
On this date. So part of that is peppering them with a reminder. Hey, a week or two ahead of that date, the round of revisions. Hey, just want to remind you, get some ideas going. Because they're not thinking of you in that project usually.
Yeah, they want their website or they want their thing done.
Yeah, let's just use a website for an example. It's easy. So they don't know what they want a lot of the time because that's not their world.
Right.
So the better you explain it in the beginning, which is a lot more work, but it makes whatever you can trim down in questions and drilling down what it is into a proposal, the easier the project gets.
Yeah, the more information you can gather at the beginning. Like, what might you be interested in for this, that sort of thing?
Like one thing we've been saying on is branding. We should have a questionnaire that has a conditional logic to it. We have one that's almost like a psych test.
Yeah.
That I can look at and go, okay, I think I know what they do. But we should have a visual, like, what styles of logo, the same logo in 8 different styles.
Yeah.
Do you like hand-drawn? Do you like flat, shadow, hipster, whatever? That would trim down a lot of fat for us, and we should do that in the future.
Yeah, it goes back to the planning. If you can come up with forms and get as much quantifiable information where it's like, okay, well, if you need these things,
it's time stamped.
Yeah, and you have it by then, whatever time, then boom, you're good. But it's when all these other things pop in where it's like, oh, well, I wanted to do this special animation thing. It's like, okay, well, that's a lot of work for us, and then it's like, what do you do then? Then do you renegotiate the contract?
So you should do a work order change anytime there's any small change.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part when you are a freelancer, you're on your own. We got a squad. But when you're doing your own thing, you're that WordPress developer that's doing it on the side after work, or or you're just a kid that's trying to be that guy, be a real pro at it, and you're learning. You don't know this part, and this is the biggest thing I can kind of tell the audience is like the work order change. You have to be strict about it, and you have to like posture this in the beginning, because you have to talk out of two sides of your mouth if you're the one-man show, right? You have to be the strict project manager and administrative side, client service side, the client service facing, the fun, like here's all the ideas, get them all fired up. Be the male cheerleader, I call it for me.
You just said cheerleader, but
yeah, the Rams are gonna get 2 male cheerleaders.
Are they?
Yeah. It's progress. So I like getting enthusiastic about it. It's really hard for me because I'm not that super disciplined, strict. When it comes to, it's hard to do both. I can do both. I can do one or the other. It's really hard to have that marriage of both without being a dick.
Well, work order change is kind of a miniature little conflict situation where it's like, all right, well, this is, it's not the best thing that you want to talk about. The client's not going to want to hear a work order change, because that means money for them.
So just like you said, I was like, why does this make me feel gross? It shouldn't. I should feel confident in the work we do. So that was number one. After you get some time under your belt, you guys can fake it till you make it if you're not there. And I'm specifically talking to the freelancers that feel like they're a little lost. I feel like once I had a lot of work under my belt, that, I felt more confident and like, no, this is how it goes. Yeah. The other part, like you're saying, is like, why does this feel icky? And that's on me. That was a psych thing where I need to work on conflict. I avoid conflict because it's just like, not because I can't argue.
It's just laziness. It's energy. It's like, dude, right. It's like fucking a lot of energy.
I'll get into it. Right.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't want to obsess over that argument.
Yeah, because you're going to want to have good points.
I like
and
debating.
Do it good. Yeah, you want to do a good job, so you're going to think about it.
I get into lawyer mode, though, and I will be like, no, this is the detail. This is what we signed. You signed the contract. But now you get into this so strict, and you're almost too emotional, meaning me, that like I'd be like, look, it's right there. It's in the details. I don't know how to make this any clearer. It's in the contract. I can't help it if you didn't read it. Which is bullshit too, because it's like, who reads terms and conditions on iTunes? But I do walk people through everything. Yeah. Quality, cost, delivery. So those are the 3 things. We've only talked about 2. The hard part is the quality, right? Yeah. So when they call you out on quality, how do you do that? It's defining quality in the beginning. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's easy by any means. How do you define quality of website design? Right. The best way to do it is position it against what you think is the most advanced in your life, right? So, call it. You need to make a term for it. Something like, okay, let's do a price sheet with, 3 options, right? Yeah. Small, medium, large. This is what we're going to be doing, right? And we need to package this. So let's call it website design. Just to stick with that example, medium, and then large. And you guys have seen this with any app you sign up for. It'll give you like the options to sign up.
Any of those subscription packages.
You're going to see more and more of those. Right. It's going to be the model. So I'm trying to figure out how our subscription commitment plans are called. Our retainers are called subscription. Instead, because that's just, it's easier. It doesn't feel like a lawyer retainer. Yeah. And then, and it feels like we do more than just the services, right? You have us as a retainer, like to be that.
You subscribe to us.
But you're subscribing to more than just that, right? Because we do a lot more. We'll send extra credit stuff, as we call it. So small, medium, large. So you go, how do I take website design and define quality?
Right.
So just
it's like
rule of 3s, break it into 3.
Yeah. So do you tell them to go out and find the worst website that they can think of in their industry?
So
I mean,
you break it down by just start getting like. First off, you can always look at other people's stuff, like how they have their pricing online,
right?
And just kind of go, oh, okay. So this guy makes a list, and on the most advanced side, he has responsive, right? So all websites are responsive now, basically. If you're going to create one, a lot of people upsell for that. Well, I'm not going to get into that, but that should be standard. SSL, most websites do that.
Also standard.
That's the HTTPS. So you'd have that in every bucket, right, across the line on 3 columns. And then what's that next thing? Oh, optimized images. We'll make sure it opens. And you start creating these qualifiers.
Yeah.
Opens in under 3 seconds. Yeah, that's on mobile. Good. On a feature phone.
Something else we would do. Right. Whereas if they're not part of the medium subscription plan, then you got to bring us those images yourself if you want them optimize. You got to optimize them yourself.
But the easiest one to do is that revisions round. So if you choose a small package, you only get 1.
Yeah.
All the features could be the same almost.
Yeah.
But the rounds of revision, you get 1 shot at that. Right? Or do you want to do that? Now sales strategy, you pretty much want them to choose the middle one. Mm-hmm. Most people, when they see 3 options, I think they choose the middle one. I think that's the psych behind it.
Yeah.
Look that up.
Well,
I hope that's it, because I've been saying that for a while. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Well, usually sales is top-down selling.
Well, but you make the shit. What a lot of people do is they make the basic free plan the shittiest shit. Mm-hmm. They show what this thing is, that the advance is, like, ooh, this can sync with all your teams and other people and all, like all these badass features. And then the middle one's like, it's just a little bit better than the small, but by positioning it,
it's got that one thing that you need, right, that everybody needs. Like, oh, yeah, well, you need to get the middle one then. I'm sorry.
So this is how you have to set this up in the planning side, so that when you walk into the meeting, you have defined qualifiers, right? For the creative. And if I already hear any creative person listening to this, like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, because you have that ego, right? You think you're doing it differently. You're not. You probably, like, if you're listening to this and for advice, you're probably not doing it differently.
No.
You're not Banksy, right? Like, you're not the master.
You're not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, you're not the master creative you think you are.
And if you are, tell us what you're doing, because that would be groundbreaking.
We'll have you on the show.
Yeah.
Gladly. But you break it down into groups. That's the easiest thing. And then kind of specify that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's go app developer, app UX UI, user interface, user experience. Those are kind of like, the really good ones are expensive as shit. Same with website designers.
Yeah.
The really good ones, they know, like, in the advanced bucket, golden ratio. That's that's the, what is it, Fibonacci sequence.
Fibonacci.
Yeah. From from Da Vinci Code. Most people know it because it's in that book.
Or Nature.
It's in Nature, but I'm saying, like, most people remember, like, it has. It's like a, what's the shell?
Yeah, the Nautilus shell.
Yes. It's like,
it's like a 1.6 something or other number. Anyways,
the Twitter bird has it in their logo.
Yeah.
The Apple logo.
It's naturally pleasing to the eye for design.
So, like, that's advanced stuff that you can do for design that you might put in a fourth one that's like custom. Here's some of the things we can do. Golden ratio, that kind of stuff. Endless rounds of design if you bear, but that's whatever you charge, you have to realize they have to know that there's a per hour, for everything custom, all that stuff.
Right.
So to summarize, all right, every project is quality score, figure out a score, right? Speed, or in business school books, they'll say delivery. Which is confusing to me because I'm thinking Amazon every time I read that.
Yeah.
And cost is always the thing that you're trying to figure out in a meeting. Because when you're talking to someone, quality's almost always, if you put like a scale, it's always, or a scorecard, it's always going to be high in the client's head. They're like, I don't want a low quality.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out how to not call it quality.
Yeah.
Right? It can be
efficiency,
creative, or design, something.
Yeah.
Something they can understand. I want 3 buckets. Call it, you can rate from 1 to 10, and you only get 24
Ooh, yeah, I like
drops in
that.
there. So we're figuring out which one is most important, right?
Yeah.
It kind of creates...
It's like leveling up your character in a video game or something where you earn some points. You can put it towards whatever you want.
Yeah.
XP.
Exactly. Like you're making a player in Madden.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'm going to make him 99 in speed, but I'm going to give him throwing of like 47 because I ran out of points. And then I'm just going to run the ball.
And you got Michael Vick.
Pretty much. That was like his rating.
Yeah.
So like, I'm thinking about how to do that mathematically. That makes sense. Do you do 21, 24, maybe an odd number, 23 out of 30? But I want to see what they value the most, because those are the 3 constraints of projects.
Yeah.
Always. And
the odd number is good because it's a tiebreaker.
Right. Yeah.
So you always have at least a second.
Because if it's all 8s, then it's tough. So I would say even if you're doing a project at the house, I've started to really do this now. We've got stuff. We moved into our place 2 months ago, and we still have stuff in boxes. And it's annoying me, and it's perturbing me. It's making me angry, dad mad. And so I go,
dad mad.
I started just creating dates. I go, look, we're gonna have these boxes. They're either gonna be Goodwill. I'm gonna give choices. I'm gonna give ultimatums. They're not gonna be in this spot where they've been for 2 months in the box, by this time. And tell you what,
the dog was the only one paying attention.
The dog. Oh yeah. Well, I was like, just like,
All right.
I made my dog pee. He got so scared. But I was like, and for that, while you're doing that, I'm gonna organize all the tools, all that stuff. Get a pegboard. Yeah, like we've got in the office now.
Keeps talking about this pegboard. He's really excited about it.
I am trying to get fired up about organizing, because it's not my natural thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's because I'm always in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I don't like that life.
It goes back to putting the work in the beginning.
Quit
putting it off.
Planning, state of routine. So I'm going to go back to summarizing: quality, cost, delivery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Figure out those terms, make qualifiers for that quality part. And then if there's going to be a change, if it's a digital service or graphic service, there's almost always going to be an extra something, right? So plan for that in the cost. Figure out what you're worth is another thing. This is going to get more complex, and this is why I saved this part to the end. What's your bill rate versus your cost rate?
I was just gonna say, I always go back to the automotive mechanic books that they have, where they say, all right, to replace a transmission on this car is normally charged this many hours of labor. And it's like, if you can do that for what your industry is or whatever, if you could figure out something ahead of time to say, listen, okay, if you want this is what it's going to cost you later on down the road, whatever, and you can agree to it, that's nice to be able to have that to refer to, rather than every time being like, all right, now I got to track my time, figure out how long it took me, then go back and say, okay, well, now can you pay me this?
So, yeah, a lot of people just look at like 2 businesses that are competitors and go, okay, I'm better than that one and I'm not as good as that one. I'll kind of figure out what my price is in the middle. That's important market research. That's what that is. Do a lot more than just 2. Like, you should always be doing it, really, if you're a service. If anything you offer is a service. So the transmission, there's labor, and then sometimes there's a lot of cost of like buying equipment.
That's considered separate, any sort of materials.
Right. But I'm saying, like, you still have to account for that cash flow that's sucked up. Because if you're doing like transmissions and you're buying, or you just have to buy engines, things that are high cost items you're waiting to get paid on.
Yeah.
That, until the thing's done, that is an issue.
Yeah.
But like just for a straight up service industry, and I used to be good at this too, as being very diligent about getting that spreadsheet of all competitors for each service you do, and it can be local, it can be online, and just keep marking that. But you have to figure out how to make the qualifiers equal each other.
Right.
So in order to do it, you have to qualify that quality.
Yeah. But again, that's the work ahead of time, where it's like, man, if you have that laid out and then can refer to it, it saves you so many headaches. If you can figure out a way to factor it into a contract too, that's nice.
It's and same thing for at home. You have goals for your garage, right? I'm going to organize this. What does that mean? Let's define it.
Right.
And I'm going to do it by when.
Yeah.
All right, I have a month, because I know I have Saturday mornings. Everybody goes and does something else, and that I know I have that time, and so it's that thing of like, it gets easier. This probably overwhelms some creatives. However, that part, all this stuff you can kind of now I can do it like on the fly.
Right. Everything gets easier in terms of your brain power that you're using thinking about it.
Yeah, just more reps.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, if you were confused by this, send us questions. I want more engagement somehow.
Yeah.
With the people out there, we're going to step up our game. You and I got to do a strategy session to kind of figure out, how do we take this to the next level, the show?
Mm-hmm.
It's going well, but we're complicit in its it's okay.
Yeah, no. We haven't efforted the way we could.
We didn't do a sponsor, so we should end on that. Right? I got so excited about Camper Talk, I forgot to bring up Grasshopper. Yeah, the entrepreneur's phone line. Grasshopper, you can add an app on your phone. It'll create that second line. I suggest, this is in the copy, and we don't have a copy in front of us because
He's just that good.
Well, I want it to be real.
Yeah.
You know?
It's real, all right.
Well, look, if someone was trying to sell mustard gas as a sponsor, I'd say no. We are not hawking that.
You know what? We're putting our foot down.
We're not about chemical warfare.
Not this time, guys.
So, Grasshopper, look, if you're running your own business and you don't have a legit phone line, you're a total jabroni.
Yes.
And if you do one of the ones where you have AT&T and you try to get two lines on your phone, I can't remember why, but for some reason it can't compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Like Grasshopper, you'll know it's a Grasshopper call for business, and you'll know when your personal phone rings. It's scalable. You can add phone numbers as you go, so you can have your one main one in the beginning, and if you need to add more and more, if you're going to do business development, we could add another line for you, but you don't like people, so
nope.
We're not going to do that.
Don't call me.
But it's a virtual phone system, and you can cut out of it at any time. Like a subscription model, you will see the pricing sheet on there, but on that pricing sheet, what you don't see is our discount, because you got to hit the URL trygrasshopper.com/sweat, like Keith Sweat. Yeah,
Keith
that's
Crippen.
how we were so good.
Yes.
$50 off. Look, that's an eighth of weed in a lot of places.
Now you got my attention.
There you go. Save an eighth of weed, $50 off when they sign up, only using trygrasshopper.com/sweat. Now we have friends of the program that go, hey, we signed up for Grasshopper. We didn't get a discount, but we're on there. Like, well, we didn't get any credit. So
yeah. So nobody's happy.
It's a win-win if you use the $50 off code, but you can only use our URL, trygrasshopper.com/sweat.
Yeah, and if you're friends with us, just call us on your regular phone, and we'll help you.
Yeah, you can be like, what is that? I don't want to look up the iTunes.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy to do that. So you can hit us up. We're on social media, all of them. I'm not even going to list them. We're on all of them.
All of them. Sweatequitypod.com. We got that.
Yeah.
We still haven't done anything.
I got some ideas there.
Patreon.
Patreon.
Haven't done shit for that either, but that's the next level shit that we need to do.
Yeah.
That's Patreon is legit that we need to get on there and figure it out.
So the first step, borrowing from this That was my
episode. That was my voice. Michael Winslow.
You are Michael Winslow. Is we got to plan out when to have a planning meeting. That's what we'll do after this.
Yeah, we'll do it later.
All right. Woo.